On today's show, the Dallas Mavericks lose to the worst team in the West with the worst final play you can imagine, with the worst third quarter defense you can imagine, with another slow start. Who's to blame? And it's time to just stop it. On today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
We have Kyrie.
You are Locked On Mavs.
Great, Rusty.
Your daily Dallas Mavericks podcast.
No one's dying.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Amazing.
Your team every day.
Still can't even help it.
And welcome. You don't deserve the music, Dallas Mavericks. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Here with my emotional support animal. Thanks for being an everydayer, making Locked On Mavs your first listen. No, this Bulbasaur stuffy that I have. Subscribe to our Locked On Mavs newsletter. Check the QR code or the link in the description wherever you're listening to us. The Mavs may be terrible, but you can still support this show. This show won't be terrible. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You can get started with $150 in bonus bets. If your bet wins, visit FanDuel.com to get started. And joining me, as always, on the post-game prodigy in the serene waterfall land. What you got for me? Slightly biased.
Do you realize how embarrassing this is for me? I had to show my feet on stream. I full-fledged showed my foot.
Did you get paid for it?
No, I didn't get paid for it. I tweeted out at jokingly because I thought the Mavs were going to win this game by 25 points. I was like, if Mavs lose, I'm showing feet. You know how much basketball I play? You know how terrible these feet look?
It got so bad that we got no payment for feet pics on the internet.
Sorry, I should. Well, hey, when you see the lower half, you think I'm an Olympic athlete. Guys, what is there to say, guys? I mean, this team at this point in the season. But you want to know what it is? This team right now
can't say no. Can't say I've had the pleasure of seeing the lower half.
Hey, you see me in some shorts.
Not short enough. Oh my God! Today's episode, we'll talk about the Dallas Mavericks lost to the freaking Utah Jazz. Do you guys understand? Like, all right, let's start. We're going to talk about this game. Maybe I'll do a Quentin Grimes victory lap. Maybe we'll talk about what very little good happened in this game. But we got to start here. This has got to stop. This is not a serious basketball team right now. This Mavericks team, all over the place. They settle for these threes. They flop. Like, even you go back, there's so many plays where they just flop around, and you're like, all right, we still got to finish the play. Clarkson got a chucked up three because in the fourth quarter to go up 10 again, because Hardy just flopped. He played good defense the whole possession, flopped at the very end, and then Clarkson gets the throw up three. Like, that play to me was just like, the Mavs, you've got to play basketball. You can't just play this game within a game thing all the time. And it starts with Luka. Luka plays like this, and it goes into the whole rest of the team, and it's so frustrating to watch sometimes, and it wasn't just the flopping, but that last play, you got to talk about that last play where Luka just looks like he falls asleep completely. There was some confusion apparently between him and Grimes. He said, after the game, he said, it was a misunderstanding. I thought I was going to hit, and Grimes thought he was going to hit, and it was a lob. So it was a misunderstanding on the bench. That's on me. You can see on that last play, the one where Luka looks like it falls asleep and John Collins gets that wide open dunk, and the Jazz go up 2 with, 6 seconds left or whatever. You can see Sean Sweeney, head coach juice, on the bench, like pointing at Luka, pointing at Sexton, and like Luka's sitting there, and then all of a sudden he just falls asleep. He's not watching the ball either. He's got his back turned. It is so frustrating to watch this team right now play in slow motion, and it feels like they're taking cues from Luka, and it starts there with the leadership, and it just does.
So before anybody in the comments dares screams at us or gets angry, understand this. Yesterday, because I'm a masochist, and people cleverly were calling me a Mavsochist. So that's a clever one.
That's not. I came up with that term like 4 years ago.
Oh, okay. All right. So Nick's taking credit for all this now. All right.
I am taking credit for that one. I did come up with that one.
All right. That's good. That's a good one though. So anyways, I watched every minute of all the clutch games leading up to this. One of my primary takeaways above all else was Luka has been dreadful defensively down the stretch of games. Dreadful.
So bad.
And it's not you can point me to the on-ball defensive possessions. We understand that can be good from time to time. We all know that. Okay. It is the off-ball stuff, it is the effort, and it is the not falling asleep. I can't even begin to understand. And you know what? This is coming from somebody who's gotten a lot of flack for going at Luka over the years. That was so bad, that last possession, that I'm not entirely sure. Like, I'm not entirely sure it is all 100% on Luka, that defensive possession. I mean, how?
Well, you could see. So Grimes is on that side with Luka. It's Grimes guarding Sexton. It's Luka guarding John Collins in what the left post, and you can see like Sean Sweeney
is the pre-switch or something. Like they're thinking that right, and
Grimes
the ball screen.
Yeah, Grimes starts to slide over to the ball handler, and then when he slides over, Luka just kind of stays frozen because Sean Sweeney's pointing at him, and I don't know, like maybe he just couldn't hear him, and he just sits frozen because Sean Sweeney is pointing at him about something, and then the pass is made, and then when the pass is made, Luka and Grimes aren't guarding anyone, like neither one of them are. Because Sexton's open too in the corner.
Yeah, a complete and total failure. The entire defense melted down right there. But
I mean, and that play was a symptom of what I was talking about earlier. It's the falling asleep on defense, the not trying, the not taking things seriously, and all that. That third quarter to me was when it really just became brutal for them. That third quarter defense was so bad, and that's to me where they lost this game.
Yeah, and I mean, Colin Sexton had a little pull-up mid-range jumper late in the game as well at the free throw line where Luka just completely falls asleep, like just standing still. And he's like waiting for a screen to get there, not paying attention to the ball. Colin Sexton guarding the ball, waiting for a screen that does not come, and Colin Sexton just walks into a free throw line jumper. It's dreadful. It's terrible, and it has to be better. He's the best player on the team, and he's your leader. Like, it has to be better. I don't know what else. Like, it's unacceptable the way that it's been so far this season. And like, oh man, I don't know. I'm like apathetic.
The NBA is too good. We've gotten over the hump where you're like, oh, it's just been these clutch games. This was another clutch game. They're now 1-6 now in clutch games so far this season. Yep. But this is against the worst team in the West without their starting center. They start, Kyle Filipowski. Like, all right, he's been all right, but John Collins has always killed the Mavs because he hustles and because he's bigger. And man, we're talking about Luka, and we're so hard on Luka, and I have been hard on Luka the beginning of this season, and I have defended Luka for years, like Slovenian years. I've defended him, but we're in year 7, and you just went to the NBA Finals, and you should come back hungrier and know that. All right, it's been a couple of times now where I've seen what it takes to play defense in the NBA, and now it's just not happening again. Year 7, he's 25 now. This is when you win MVPs. This is when you go to the finals and win, championships. This should be the deepest team he's ever had. Like all that stuff. And it's just the opposite. And it honestly makes me think there's something going on in his life where he's not enjoying basketball as much, right? Like you just start to think like, is there something going on with him? We did this at the end of the 2023 season, and there was all that stuff with his mom and the lawsuit and all that kind of stuff. And then we found out that he was going to, him and his girlfriend, now fiance, are going to have a baby. Like there's all this stuff happening in his life, and it makes me wonder if that's happening too. I'm not going to do armchair psychologist, but it's that bad where you're like, all right, there's just no other explanation for how some of this defense is bad. And we can talk about Luka's offense because I thought his offense was pretty good in this game.
Yeah, he played a good game offensively. I mean, like you said, it's year 7. The reason why we get so frustrated with Luka, and it's a unique case, it really is, because a player of that talent level, of that skill level, like I'm not joking when I say I think he could be the best player in the world. I'm not joking when I say I think he was the best player last year. I'm not just like saying that, right? I do think there's people who are insecure when they say that, and so they have to use all these things to defend him. I'm not being insecure when I say that. I truthfully do believe it. He doesn't do what he needs to do to be the best player in the world. He's an incredible player, even in games, even his slow starts to the season. He's an all-star level player still. That's all fine. That's not the expectations for him. The expectations up for him are be the best player in the world. What comes with that is being a leader, coming into the season ready to go every single year, buying in defensively, not falling asleep, not having these lackadaisical effort plays. These are the things that cannot happen. And it's game 12 of the season, but now you're 5-7. And this is going to be a bloodbath Western Conference. And I promise you, they'll turn it around. But I promise you, it's going to be March, and we're going to be fighting tooth and nail to get the 4 seed or the 5 seed. And we're going to look back at this horrible stretch and be like, man, imagine if we decided to play basketball and try for 48 minutes a game. And it starts at the top. It always does. If you play any sport, you know that. It always does. It doesn't matter if the player wants it to or not. It does, especially in basketball.
We talked a lot about Luka. Coming up, let's talk about Jason Kidd. Let's talk about this team and how this team was set up in this game, how they didn't get the win, and we'll talk about their defense and why it was so bad on today's Locked On Mavs. Coming up.
You don't believe you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up all the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25 APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks everybody for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs, being part of the show, part of the Raccoon Squad, listening every day. If you're listening right now and you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, and not the Jazz fans that are listening, and David Locke and whoever else is listening because they're happy that the Mavs are bad. But if you're listening and you're a real Mavs fan, you're part of the Raccoon Squad. Welcome. All right, Slightly, let's get into this game. Defensive, the game is on defense. If anybody's going to start calling out offense, I'm not here to, because their offense was good enough, I thought. 121 defensive rating in this one. Another bad offensive game. The Utah Jazz had a 44% offensive rebound rate, which is not good. They got 16 offensive rebounds. The Mavs, if you want to point to anything that was bad with their offense, actually, their turnovers, 17 turnovers in this game. Absolutely brutal. 24 points off turnovers for the Jazz, and they were just bad turnovers over and over again. Luka had 3 in the first half. Didn't have any in the second, but Klay had 3 in the first half that I thought were bad. Hardy had 3 that were bad, and just over and over, the Mavs were turning the ball over. Their transition defense, I didn't think was that great in this game. And man, that third quarter, I just keep going back to it because they allowed 38 points to this team, and they allowed 34 in the second quarter, but 38 points to this Utah Jazz team. This Jazz team is not good, man.
No, this isn't the Jazz teams of old. We're like, hey, they're a frisky and feisty team for the first 40 games. Like, you don't really want to see them the first half of the season. This team's terrible. Like, no offense, this Jazz team stinks, but that's good. That's what they need to be doing. They need to be stinking. So good for them. But I mean, Kyle Filipowski's good. That's a bright spot. But outside of that, like, there's not a lot going on. You want to look at some of the stuff. What constitutes a team that's not playing good basketball, a team that's not doing the things that they need to do along the margins to win basketball games? What are some of the things you look at? Well, let's look at turnovers. Team turned the ball over crazy tonight. Like, the only way that this Jazz team could even hang with you is if you do stupid stuff like that, and you do it. And the whole first half, you lead at the end of the first half, but it feels weird and it feels gross because you turned the ball over so much and you gave them life. So that's terrible. Transition defense, horrid tonight.
So
horrid.
bad.
Putrid. The Jazz scored 1.8 points per possession in transition, man. They got out in transition so much. These off live ball rebounds, they averaged 2.3 points per possession. That is insanity. That's insane. So what does that point to? That points to a team not being locked in, not getting back on defense, being slow defensively. They get murdered on the glass. I mean, what's the excuse tonight? Gafford and Lively both played. Maxey was back. You played a huge lineup to start the game.
Yeah, the excuse is, oh, we don't have PJ, he's injured. Lively got in foul trouble. Kyrie didn't play.
Is PJ the best? Should we be sending PJ MVP propaganda to the league? I mean, seriously,
he may be the best defender. I mean, he matters. We talked about how he matters a lot because of his size. He allows their lineups to be more flexible. You could have started Maxey and Lively and PJ in a game like this. I'm on cleaning the glass, and the Mavs half-court defense actually was a 93.1. So it literally was just the difference was just the transition because their half-court defense was good. That's a 44th percentile half-court defense. That's good. Like they played good in the half court when they got them to stop and they got the Jazz to slow down and they put pressure on those guards and all that. But the transition just killed them.
That's because you are a much better basketball team. Like you play your game and you win this basketball game so easily. But the problem is you just play this disgusting brand of basketball. I mean, it's just they're not. I don't know. I know I said I'm apathetic and I'm getting a little worked up. But like they're just not playing good basketball this season. Like nothing even close to it. So what's there like be unless they decide they want to start playing good basketball for 48 minutes? I mean, this is going to be what the season is.
I think I think some blame goes to Jason Kidd for setting this team up because I think you got to have your team's got to be ready to come into this game, and he can point to the players, and I'm sure he will tonight. I haven't seen his comments just yet, but I'm sure he'll point this team wasn't ready, and there's only so much you can do, but like. At a certain point, it does like the game plan. It does come back to game plan and how you set people up and how you set this team up and how he's allowed Luka to do some of these things defensively and allowed to get away with some of this stuff. To me, that was one of the things I was real frustrated with last year when, before the Mavs went on that run and all that. I was like, man, it just feels like he's letting Luka with the same bad habits over and over again. Like, oh, well, he's the star player. What's he supposed to do? Okay, he's the coach. He's the one that's supposed to be able to talk to Luka. I'm doing this song and dance again. I feel like I did this exact same thing last year, but when it's bad, it comes back to, all right, who's there to help Luka? If Luka's not going to do it himself, then the coach has some responsibility there too. And to set up the rest of the team to be successful when Luka's not on the floor, which by the way, the Mavs without Luka on the floor tonight actually were pretty good. They went 7-11 in the first quarter, 10-4 in the second quarter, and 9-5 in the third quarter. So what's that? I think they outscored the Jazz when Luka wasn't on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, you got your bench production tonight offensively, so that was good. You had that work going for you. But yeah, I mean, I tweeted this out. Like, everybody deserves blame in this. Like the coaching staff, I've defended Kidd, but that doesn't mean I think he's done a great job so far this season. Like I'm defending him in the stance that it's like people are like, this is entirely Jason Kidd's fault. No, it is not. Like it's not that you're giving out so much bail to the players on the roster who are playing horribly to start the season, like inexcusably bad. They're professional athletes. There are small little things that they just should be doing that they're not. And is that the coach's fault? Sure, but they just need to be doing it. Yeah, I mean, look, the final play of the game, that shot. I thought that was a good read by Luka. Luka got double teamed. That was fine. If you want to be mad at Kidd for that and the coaching staff for having Naji parked in that strong side corner, that's perfectly fair. I think that's a fair assessment to be angry at that play call because he hasn't been good Luka drew help. Yeah, if this were like the Naji of last season, you feel good about that shot. But he has not been hitting threes at all this year. So that was a bit of an oversight. But yeah, I mean, it's just everything is going wrong. Everything.
Everything's going. We did see, you mentioned this, we did see a new starting lineup. We saw Luka, Klay Thompson, Quentin Grimes, my guy, we'll talk about later. Maxi Kleber back, his first game back, and then Lively get the start, which meant Naji, who had been starting, and Gafford, who'd started every game, goes to the bench. Now, this is because they sat Kyrie Irving. He has a shoulder injury. He was questionable going into this, and then they sat him. To me, they sat him because they felt like they could win without him. That feels like a classic thing that the Mavs have done in the past. And PJ is still out, and so that was the new starting lineup. They didn't get out to a good start. They got out to a 19-12 start, I guess, to begin, but then it ended up being another slow start in the first quarter. Like it didn't change anything.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was interested by that group just because of the size. I was saying this, I don't know, with all the injuries out, this just feels like a complete and total experiment lineup. Like I would not take a single thing out of this starting five. Like I don't think you can even.
I mean, he played Dwight Powell with Lively and then Dwight Powell with Gafford. Like he was just trying stuff. The Jazz did play really big, right? They started with Larry Markkinen, who's almost 7 foot, John Collins, who's 6'9", 6'10", and Filipowski, who's 6'10", 6'11". And so they started three big guys. So I understood starting Maxey with Lively there because he wanted that size. The Mavs have struggled rebounding lately. And so he went with that and tried that. But again, it just didn't give him the results that they had hoped. And then he tried Dwight Powell with Lively and Dwight Powell with Gafford, and those lineups did not do that great either.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. I've defended the rotations and stuff because of injuries, and Kyrie wasn't playing tonight. But the thing that makes it hard and frustrating is it's like people have been injured, and nobody on the bench really has stood out a bunch and like been super deserving of these minutes. So I do kind of get where Kid is coming from outside of Naji.
Well, Naji did, and then Naji did, and then Naji became part of the starting lineup when PJ's been out. I mean, Gafford, Lively, between the two of them, you can go back and forth. That Lively has shown off the bench that he can, but the ones that, and then Quentin Grimes finally got his opportunity tonight and 15 points, hit 3 threes, had 5 assists, had a couple, had 4 fouls, but he's playing really good defense all throughout there. You're looking at your Hardy spot, your Dinwiddie spot. You're really getting nothing. You're getting nothing out of Spencer Dinwiddie. Like, you are way more right about Spencer Dinwiddie than I was. And then Dwight Powell doing Dwight Powell things. 3 rebounds, 3 assists in 12 minutes. It's about what you're going to get from Dwight Powell.
Yeah, I think Dwight's been. I actually thought that Dwight at the 4 minutes were fine tonight. Honestly, I didn't think they were terrible. But
I mean, they survived, right? Like, they survived. They weren't like getting destroyed with those lineups. But
my goodness, I'm looking at these numbers, man. Gafford was a minus 19 tonight.
Well, if anybody who ever played in the third quarter, you got destroyed. Luka was a minus 17 in that quarter.
That's true.
Yeah, brutal. Coming up, let's get into. I want to talk about Quentin Grimes because I thought he played pretty well and he finally got his chance. We'll talk about Klay Thompson. I've got some worries about Klay Thompson that I want to get into, and more coming up.
You don't believe you shouldn't be here.
Today's episode of Locked On Mavs brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook has all kinds of props and odds that you can use to get in on the action right now. If you put down your first $5 bet, you can get $150 in bonus bets if that bet wins. So go check out FanDuel, see what is available for you. Go check out some of the odds. Do I dare look at the next Mavs game that they have on the schedule? No, they don't have one. That's good. Thank you, FanDuel, for saving me from myself. Mavs still have good championship odds. They're plus 1,000. The only teams above them right now, the Celtics plus 260, the Thunder plus 500, the Knicks plus 800, and then the Mavs plus 1,000. Timberwolves slid to plus 1,300. I bet that's where the Mavs will slide. The Nuggets plus 1,500. Honestly, if you're looking at some good odds, that one's not bad right now. Cavs plus 1,500. On that one. So go check it out. See what's available on FanDuel. And if you put down $5 and win that $5, you can get $150 in bonus bets. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Please gamble responsibly.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
All right, slightly. Let's finish it up here. Let's talk about Klay Thompson. I've got to worry about Klay Thompson. Shit, tell me. Okay, let's play something or nothing.
Okay.
Something or nothing. Klay Thompson can't get anything going off the dribble against any team so far. Is that something or nothing? Are you worried about this for the Mavs?
No. I don't think that makes or breaks
not
anything
worried
for the Mavs.
No,
not worried, really. I mean, he was not good tonight, but not really worried.
You're not worried about it?
No.
I'm a little worried about it.
On the totem pole of issues, that's like 50.
I did project pretty far to the future, and are like, man, if he can't get by anybody on the Jazz right now, and I'm a little worried about him like going forward against some of these better teams, and he needs to be able to attack a closeout every once in a while. And I don't know. Okay, so yeah, all right, so nothing. All right, that's fine.
But also his game wasn't ever like I'm beating this guy first step, lightning quick first step, getting to the rim. It's always been like I'm getting you in the air, and then I'm hitting like a running fadeaway jumper, like which when they don't go, you're like, what on earth?
But he's shown he can do that a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. So,
we're stalling out, just like the Mavs stalling out. All right, let's talk about Quentin Grimes.
Yeah.
36 minutes, second most minutes on the team because he put in the effort. They needed that effort. He was diving on loose balls. He was picking up guys at half court. He was playing. He hit 3 threes in the first half. Scored all 15 points in the first half. Didn't score in the second half. I've been calling for Quentin Grimes minutes. I know that he's been the guy on Twitter that everybody thinks, if they play Quentin Grimes, then they'll finally win. But I'm just going to take the victory lap right now.
I have to apologize that you felt that he should have played more.
I'm glad. I liked how Quentin Grimes played. I'm glad he got a chance, and his defense helps the Mavericks, and I'm glad that we saw that in this game. +3, by the way.
You should be taking your victory lap because he's been very good these last 2 games and absolutely needs to be in the rotation. I mean, this was one of the ones with kids where it's just like, but then we also have to understand, man, you look around the league, every fan base gets mad with their coaching staff about one guy. There's just always something. They like these more proven guys early in the season. They just do. You have to earn these minutes. And I'm very hopeful. And I really do hope, because he was a part of that last second breakdown defensively. I really am on my hands and knees praying that they don't find some way to circle that back to Quentin Grimes in an effort to make people feel good. And he's now back in the doghouse for the foreseeable future because he was great tonight.
So I thought that would happen after the Warriors game, where we saw him go over the screen with Curry like a couple times. Remember when, like, that mistake where he went over the screen, or went under the screen on Steph Curry, and you're like, oh, you never go under a screen on Steph Curry. And he did it a couple times, and they still played him second most minutes in this game. So I don't think that will happen. And I think that issue was so obvious that if you have ever played basketball or you watch the play, you know that was Luka's fault. That I don't think there's any way they can like scapegoat it into that.
Again, that play was so bad. I think there's multiple parties at fault, but it did feel like it was mostly Luka's.
Fair.
But
it was Luka's man.
Like, well, Grimes, like, what are we gonna do? Bench Luka?
I don't know.
See you at the end of the bench, Grimes.
Well, the other thing is there's just not a lot of wings left, and he's at least willing to take a shot. And he's got he took more threes than Hardy did. He took more threes than
he's got a quick trigger,
did.
Man. He's not. He's shooting pull up. He's shooting step back threes like off the dribble. He's not shy, and I really do like that. Honestly,
they need that. We talked about all last year. They need somebody like that.
We talked about Tim Hardaway Jr. We're like, guys, I know it sucks sometimes, but they kind of need it. They kind of just need a guy to throw those things up there.
They did, and they needed it in game 2 against the Thunder, and Tim Hardaway had 17 points, and it was like, man, if they didn't have those 17 points, I don't know if they win, and then they're down 0-2, then all of a sudden this is a completely different series.
What was the record he broke in game 4 against the Celtics? Most made threes in a quarter or something like that. I mean, what was it?
Didn't he make 5?
Yeah, most made threes in a finals game in a quarter or something crazy.
Crazy.
So that is a positive. It's Quentin Grimes' minutes last 2 nights.
What are the fixable issues?
God, a camping trip. This team needs a camping trip, a bowling trip, something, man. I don't know what it is. Like
trust fall thing. Like
yeah, because there is something to take away from the fact. All right, you've lost 1 possession games 4 games in a row. You're not getting.
This one too. Smoked. Another one.
Yeah, you're not getting smoked. You're in these games.
They've lost games now 3, 2, 1, and 2 points. They've lost their last 4 games.
There was a part of me who was like, if you're going to lose this game, it better be by 4 points so we could get the 1, 2, 3, 4 thing working out. Which I guarantee you has never happened in the history of the league. Something like that.
That a team lost a game. Lost games by 1, 2, 3, and 4
4 games in a row by 1, 2, 3, and 4 points. But there is that, and then it's just I was really hoping tonight would be this just you win by 25, and it's like, all right, here we go. We're back. Like this is who we are. You need a game like that in the worst of ways. The body language is bad. I feel like if I had to guess, I'll guess the vibes are probably not very good in the locker room currently. Bad. I mean, how could they be? If you respect yourself as a team, they can't be good. Like, I hope the vibes are bad. And I mean, the saving grace is this is what this team does. It's very frustrating, but it's the same song and dance every single season.
And sometimes they recover from it, 2022, 2024, and sometimes they don't, 2023, right? Like, but
worst start record-wise since Luka's rookie season, by the way.
Oof. Well, yeah, I posted a stat the other day that in their first 6 clutch games of the season, even the season from hell, they were 3-3 to start their first 6. They've never started this bad. Here it is, though. The vibes are this bad. The team needs a day to hang out. Markieff Morris, this is why you have a roster spot. This is your time.
Yeah, true.
This is it. Markieff Morris, this is why you're on the team, Markieff. Like, organize it. Figure out what this team needs. Pull Luka to the side, get Kyrie and get Klay and everybody and say, all right, we've won championships, and this is how a championship team plays. And we get them together. Players only meeting Let's do it. It's time. 12 games into the season. Players only meeting. It's time. This is a come to Jesus moment.
Off, man. Yeah, coming to Jesus moment. They need it quickly. Like you can't be 5-10. Like that feels like like in the Eastern Conference, you can dig your way out of that. In that horrible joke, pathetic conference, you can dig your way out. The Bucks are like 3 games out of the 4 seed. Like that conference is a joke. It's embarrassing how bad it is. In that conference, you could do that. This isn't that conference. So you need to reel it in. It has to happen quicker, or else you're going to be in the play-in tournament probably.
This is such a come to Jesus moment that I want Markieff Morris. This is my mandate to you. Get the team together when you get back home in Dallas. You can't, you get off the bus. Nobody goes home. We walk straight from the AAC all the way to the front to the plaza. We hold hands in a circle around the Dirk Nowitzki statue, and we pray to the basketball Jesus himself that we come together as a team. We play as a team. We play for each other. We fix this, and everyone has to do the Ted Lasso thing where we throw something into the burn barrel that we're giving up. All right, I'm giving up falling asleep on defense. I'm giving up terrible threes. I'm giving up turnovers where I'm not paying attention. Everybody around the circle says something, and then they go back. All right, we trash this, we flush it, and we move on, and we get better. Markieff, do it. Ted Lasso it.
Come on. Because this is what it's so infuriating about this is you are such a better basketball team than this, man. I mean, it starts at the top and down to the bottom. We talked about all the small little things, transition defense being terrible, turnovers, rebounding. These are all things you control. Okay? Seriously.
Listen, you know what's the worst thing about this whole thing?
What?
You know what's the worst? This team is making me look so damn stupid.
I don't even care about that.
That's the worst. That's the worst part for me.
My least favorite thing is I can't go on Twitter anymore. I mean, this fan base is just
hey, Blue Sky,
something else, man.
I'm on Blue Sky now. Nick Van Exit.
Man, I'm on Blue Sky.
You're on Blue
too.
Sky. I saw it.
I'm not.
There's a bunch of people on Blue Sky.
Let's just be real. I'm just addicted.
There's a bunch of NBA people on there now.
All right, well, maybe I'll be on there for once a week. Like, I just highly doubt I'm going to be on there, man. But I just can't. Like, it's just insane. Where it's just everybody. It just feels like you're watching different games every night. Like, from what everyone is saying is the problem. It's this person. It's this person. You don't say this thing about this person enough. You say this thing about this person too much. It's like, okay. I mean, I don't. It's just a nightmare start to the season.
Nightmare start to the season, but hey, we'll still be here every step of the way, every day of the
game
week.
Saturday. If they win on Saturday, we have to have some uncomfortable conversations. For me, pretty comfortable conversations, but uncomfortable conversations about my presence.
If they lose, if they win, yeah. If they win, then we've got to get you to all the games. That's the thing. We got to get somebody listening to the show is loaded enough. No, somebody listening to the show. They've already given you courtside seats. Somebody is loaded enough to give up one of your season tickets so slightly can go to every single game if that happens.
Somebody in the organization listens to this podcast. You cannot convince me otherwise. So
I know people that listen to this in the organization. I know people in ticketing that listen to this. I know people in the the training crew. All kinds of people
if
listen
we
to
win
the
on
show.
Saturday, it's time to decide if we're a serious franchise or not. That's all I'll say. If we're willing to do whatever it takes.
Gotta love an ultimatum 12, 13 games into the season.
Oh, man.
I called to the Locked On Mavs insiders. I texted them this morning. I texted them a preview before every game. I said what to watch, and I said, "Dear God, if they lose this game, please don't lose this game. This is a must-win game." And they went and they lost it. Oh my God, guys! Thanks
about it because the season is so long, guys. I mean, that's serious. Here, I'm really. If I know people who get really worked up about sports, if that's you and you're feeling really down in the dumps, it's okay to take a break. It really is. I promise.
Yeah,
you're not a bad fan for that or anything.
Hey, we'll be here when you come back, right? We'll be right here for you. Locked On Mavs, slightly biased. Exactly. We will welcome you back in with open arms. But here's the thing: if you're one of those people, just know we've done this before, and we'll do it again.
Look at how I screw. I look like one of those.
Are those your notes?
That's like schizophrenic person drew.
That's like they ran out of paper for the lie detector test.
Yep.
Looks like Jon Stewart's notes at the end of every Daily Show. There you go, guys. That's the Mavs versus the Jazz. That's how terrible it was for this team. Check the QR code for more ways to follow the show or the links in the description wherever you're listening, watching this. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Isaac will have one more thing for you tomorrow because we need some voice of reason. And then Saturday, Spurs game. We'll be there. Peace out. Boom.
It'll be all right. Or not, maybe. I don't know.